Is the union growing?
It's growing. We've organized, just the Teamsters alone in 2.5 years, organized 50,000 new members, and we're organizing in traditional industries. But I know for a fact you've probably never done this. You've probably never smoked weed, but we are organizing in the cannabis industry.
No way.
Where there's 425,000 W-2 employees nationwide.
Bud slaves, they call them. A lot of people are calling them, because they're not unionized.
No, and we have organized. I think we've got 2,000.
They're sleeping in hammocks.
We've got 2,000 of them organized. I think throughout the whole country. So they're into cultivation. There's workers that are in warehousing, and then they're going to be in distribution. So all in our wheelhouse of what we do, and there's 425,000 of them.
Is that one of your largest growing sectors?
It's
sector the term, or what is it?
It's divisions.
Is that one of the largest growing divisions?
Well, we're hopeful it will. I mean, we're doing a lot of things differently. Where once this is legalized nationwide, which I think both candidates are supportive of legalizing it, you're going to see in the safe banking laws a change where, again, these companies can put money into actual banks. You're going to see private equity come out and try and buy up all these smaller companies. Where what we're doing is we're working with a private equity fund, utilizing contributions from our pension funds and investments in our pension funds
to be the buyer of them.
To be the buyer of them.
Let's go.
Right, and obviously, organize within this industry. So there's 425,000.
Is it a conflict of interest though to be an owner?
No, we're not an owner. It would be the private equity firm that we invest in. So it's not uncommon. We do it all the time in other industries. Like,
would you still make the best deal for your candidates?
Oh, we're going to make the best deal, because think about it. A lot of times in pension funds and health and welfare funds, we make investments off contributions because, that's what you're supposed to do, right? And it's usually a pretty dynamic asset allocation. You invest in real estate, you invest in private equity, you invest in stocks, you invest in bonds and stuff like that. Or infrastructure. So think about investing in, a lot of times, especially with private equity, you're investing in competitors, non-union competitors that could potentially put good companies out of business. So we're taking a different look at it now and approach and say, look, why don't we invest in the industries that we actually represent? And instead of investing in our demise, we invest in areas where we can help. So, for instance, 30% of this portfolio will be dedicated towards a cannabis investment, and the other 70% will be in all kinds of other investments, right? We're hoping to raise $1 billion by January or February of 2025. And that gives us the opportunity as well, is like if there's a distressed company out there, like a small business that's unionized, or even a big business like Yellow Freight, who went out of business because they couldn't get financing because there was a greedy private equity firm known as Apollo. If we had this fund up and running, a couple of years ago, we could have bought Apollo's position out at $600 million, restructure the company, and actually keep 22,000 jobs, right? Wow. So we're doing creative, innovative stuff like that as well. You have to. Oh, you have to, because like I said, we're a lot more sophisticated, and our members deserve the investments we're going to make on their behalf. And like you look at the cannabis industry, for instance, right? If it doesn't get organized, what future do people have going to work there? So we organize them. We negotiate contracts that have health care, that have retirement benefits. We're not just creating a job. We're creating careers for people, right?
Right.
Cultivation, warehousing, distribution. I mean, that's what we should be doing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, and I can't believe that's one of the biggest growing. That's one of the largest growing.
So they're saturated.
It's like
heavily.
One of the largest growing sectors for you guys, divisions.
They're saturated heavily with licenses nationwide, you know? And that's a good thing, but they're capital poor right now. So they're waiting for this, legalization federally and the safe banking laws to change. And you're going to see, a grab. And if we're not controlling that grab, the best interests of these workers are not going to be at hand. So we want to make sure, first and foremost, that's what we're doing. We're not really concerned with, doing double-digit return on investments. We're concerned on taking care of these workers that work in this industry and making certain that they have the ability to have a career if they choose.
But how crazy that it's even come to that also, that now in order to ensure that the workers are going to be safe, that the company, that the organization making them safe also wants to be a vested interest in the, like, you know what I'm saying?
You have to have skin in the game. You got to have skin in the game.
It makes sense, but it's crazy that that people wouldn't just think, yes, we need to take care of the workers.
Yeah, well, so again, you get back to corporate greed.
Yeah.
You get back to bottom line of a balance sheet before people.
How say in the weed organization, right? Say the people that work for weed companies, how do they become part of the union? How does someone who's working somewhere who feels like, okay, I'm not supported, or maybe I'm at a place that should be supported, how do they approach you guys to be hopefully potentially be part of the union?
They'll go to a local union, like a Teamsters local, and they'll
okay, so start at a local
level.
level.
They'll go to a local level, talk to the local union. Local union will either send in their organizer or will provide an organizer for them. They'll go out, talk to the workers, establish a relationship, establish trust, and have them sign authorization cards, meaning they want to join the union. And especially in the cannabis industry, I think we've gotten more card check recognition because I think two things. They know that, we can strike them for recognition. And two, they know that we have this ability to, make investments in their businesses as time goes on once this fund is created. And it's good. It's good for the industry because think about it. We're going to regulate that industry, right? So if we don't organize them, the mom and pop that are charging X amount, and I've never done drugs in my life. I don't even know. I've never smoked weed or anything else. But
I've done them. They're all,
they're
all right.
Yeah, I didn't do them because I probably would have fucking loved them.
God,
right?
yeah, dude.
But, I don't know, but you don't want to undercut each other in this industry where it's a race to the bottom. So there are a lot of employers out there that have welcomed us in because of that reason. Like, we don't want to sell a gummy 25 cents cheaper than the guy down the street. So, we've actually regulated this industry to a certain point. But the other thing too, which is very important in this industry, is continuity of employees, right? So if you're providing employees with a union contract, good wages, good benefits, there's not going to be a turnover ratio, right? When we first started this organizing campaign, we were seeing, 20, 21-year-old kids that, they weren't stealing a banana, they were sampling the product, right?
Oh yeah.
And they'd get fired or they'd leave. So we've actually instilled some stability in this industry just because they know there's an opportunity and they're organized. There's a contract and there's a future.
Yeah, I think then you feel like you're part of something.
Absolutely.
Which is the same thing like which goes back to our conversation about America. It's just like feeling like you're a part of something, feeling like, I think it used to feel like your country was unionized, know. It definitely felt like that when I was a kid, and we haven't catered to that, and our leaders haven't catered to that, and our decision makers haven't catered to that.